Hello, everyone. Bob Thibodeau here. I'm so blessed that you're joining us here today. And, the whole thing that we're going to try and do is to show you how podcast guesting can help you to grow your outreach, grow your business, and just help you accomplish whatever it is you do to help others. And in a prior training, I discussed the benefits of having your own podcast. And if you missed it, just go back and watch the video just prior to this one, and it explains all the important facts about that. But everything I'm sharing with you is not some pie in the sky type of marketing guruism. But I get asked questions all the time, like, well, how much does it cost? What type of budget do I have to have? How hard is it to set up? And I understand that just starting out, you may want to keep it as cheap as possible, especially when you're starting at 0 followers. Amen. When I started in media ministry way back in 2009, I had a whopping 1 listener, me. My wife didn't even listen to my broadcast. She was actually sitting in the same room, so she didn't have to listen to the radio. But, nobody was listening. But over about 18 months, our little operation grew to the point where evangelismradio.com ended up being rated as the #1 online talk Christian radio station in the world by shoutcast.com. And I did it with almost no marketing budget. I did it without any outside ad agency or marketing agency. I couldn't even afford Facebook ads at the time. And how did I accomplish it? Simple. Podcast interviews. Now, in the prior video where I talked about the importance of having your own podcast, I covered how having your own podcast could help you to grow your brand and your authority, and it is absolutely true. But there are expenses involved with running your own podcast. Some may not have the time to run their own podcast. Others may not have the technical expertise, even though it's a lot easier today than it was in the past. Regardless, for some, just the thought of adding one more thing to what you do makes it a difficult decision to make. And I understand that. Why do I understand that? Amen. But if that sounds like you, and you truly want to take your marketing to the next level without the hassle of starting your own podcast, then putting yourself out there to do podcast interviews is definitely something that you should consider. And today I'm going to share with you the power of podcast guesting, why it is the ultimate cost-effective marketing strategy that you can use. In the ever-evolving landscape of marketing, finding cost-effective strategies that yield significant results is a constant challenge. Traditional advertising methods often come with high costs and varying levels of effectiveness, making it crucial for brands to explore basically innovative approaches to how they get the word out about what they do. One such strategy that has gained remarkable traction is being a guest on other people's podcasts. Not only is this method highly economical, but it also offers unparalleled opportunities to connect with target audiences, build credibility, and create long-lasting content. So let's dive right into a few reasons why podcast guesting should be at the top of your marketing strategy list. First, it's low-cost exposure to a very targeted audience. Precision targeting without the huge price tag of having to do targeting ads on Facebook and all that. Because marketing success hinges on you being able to reach the right audience with the right message. However, achieving this level of precision often requires a substantial financial investment, particularly in digital advertising. That's where podcast guesting enters in, a strategy that offers precision targeting without the hefty price tag. Podcasts are typically centered around specific themes or industries, attracting niche audiences that are passionate about those particular topics. By appearing as a guest, you tap into a concentrated group of potential customers who are already interested in what you offer. That's why they're listening to that podcast host. This targeted exposure is like having a captive audience that's just eager to hear from you, all without the associated costs of paid ads. Consider the typical expenses that are involved in launching a digital ad campaign, from creating compelling ad creatives to bidding for keywords and placements. The costs, they quickly escalate. They really do. Even then, there's no guarantee that your ads will reach the right people or even resonate with them. In contrast, securing a guest spot on a podcast often comes at little to no cost to you, yet it places you directly in front of an audience that aligns perfectly with your target market. This level of focused engagement is invaluable, and it makes podcast guesting a highly efficient use of your marketing resources. And you get to maximize your ROI, your return on investment, with minimal investment. Return on investment is one of the most critical metrics for any marketing strategy. Traditional advertising methods can be a financial gamble with absolutely no assurance of substantial returns. I recently did a Facebook ad that cost me on average about 33 cents per click with one sign up over the course of a week. I just did that as a test just to see before we start talking about this. So that was a learning lesson. Let's just put it like that. Now, this is where podcast guesting shines through. It offers you the potential for a high ROI with minimal, if any, financial outlay. Each minute you spend speaking on a podcast is a minute of a direct, meaningful interaction with a highly engaged audience. Think about the typical listener of a podcast. These are people who have chosen to dedicate their time right now to listen to a particular show, indicating a higher level of engagement compared to those passively scrolling through social media, and you got to try and catch their attention, or skimming through online ads, just trying to get past them to the content they want. When you speak directly to the listeners of a podcast, sharing your insights, sharing your expertise, sharing ideas, you create a powerful connection that transcends the limitation of traditional advertising. The value of this interaction far exceeds that of a generic ad impression, and it translates into a higher ROI for your marketing efforts. It also helps you to build your credibility and trust in the online world. You get to leverage the podcast host's authority. In the digital age, credibility and trust are paramount. Consumers are bombarded at all times with advertisements and marketing messages, making it ever increasingly difficult for brands to stand out and earn trust. This is where the power of podcast guesting becomes evident. When a respected podcast host invites you to speak on their show to their audience, their endorsement acts as a powerful stamp of approval on what you're talking about. This borrowed credibility can significantly enhance your brand's reputation. Imagine being introduced by a well-regarded host who vouches for your expertise and the value you bring to the table. The listeners who trust this host's judgment are more likely to view you as an expert in your field. This implicit endorsement is far more impactful than any paid advertising you could ever get. It positions you as a thought leader and a credible authority, paving the way now for a deeper connection with potential customers. And you create authentic connections with listeners. Unlike traditional ads that can feel impersonal and intrusive, podcast interviews allow you to share your story, share your insights, your personality in a genuine and authentic manner. This personal touch, it fosters trust and loyalty among those who are listening to you. When people hear your voice, learn about your journey, resonate with your experiences, they are more inclined now to engage with your brand and become longtime customers in the process. This authentic connection is a key differentiator in today's crowded marketplace. Consumers crave authenticity and transparency, and podcast guesting provides the perfect platform to deliver just that. By sharing your knowledge and your passion in a conversational setting, you create a lasting impression that encourages listeners to explore your brand even further. And the nice thing about this, unlike an ad that runs and then it's done, podcasting is a long-term content value type of medium. It gives you that evergreen marketing power. One of the standout benefits of podcast guesting is the creation of evergreen content. Podcast episodes remain accessible indefinitely. It provides a continuous stream of new listeners discovering your brand over time. This evergreen content ensures your message keeps working for you long after the interview, amplifying your reach with no additional cost whatsoever. Amen. Consider the lifespan of a typical ad campaign. Once that budget runs out, so does your visibility. The ad I ran a few weeks back is no longer being shown to anyone. Right? In contrast, a podcast episode lives on, allowing new audiences to find and engage with your content. I go back and check our stats on the podcast, and some of the podcasts that are being listened to, I interviewed people 2-3 years ago, and they're still coming up as being listened to recently. That is the long-term viability of doing a podcast interview. This ongoing visibility is a cost-effective way to maintain consistent presence just for your target market. Each time someone listens to the episode, they're exposed to your brand. And that just perpetuates the benefits of your initial effort of doing the interview in the first place. And you may get traffic that you're wondering where it comes from, and it came from an interview you did 2 months or even 2 years ago. And you can multi-purpose the content for even a broader reach. A single podcast interview can be repurposed into content formats, maximizing its impact and extending its reach. From blog posts to social media snippets to video highlights and email newsletters, whatever you can think of, the possibilities really are endless. And this multi-channel approach allows you to leverage the same content across multiple platforms, ensuring sustained marketing momentum. For example, you can transcribe the podcast interview and turn it into a detailed blog post. You can highlight key takeaways, linking it back to the episode. Short snippets of the interview can be shared on social media to spark interest and drive traffic to the full episode. Video highlights can be created to capture the most engaging moments and shared on platforms like YouTube or LinkedIn. By repurposing the content, you are able to maximize its value and reach an even broader audience, all without incurring almost zero additional costs. Amen. So as we get ready to conclude this training for today, I want to emphasize that you need to seize the power of podcast guesting. Podcast guesting is a remarkably cost-effective marketing strategy that offers unparalleled benefits. It provides low-cost exposure to highly targeted audiences. It builds credibility and trust through authentic connections, and it creates long-lasting multi-purpose content that can continue to promote your brand over an extremely long period of time. By leveraging the power of podcasts, you can achieve significant marketing impact with minimal investment, making it an essential component of your marketing strategy. So, why spend exorbitant amounts on traditional advertising methods that may or may not ever yield results? Embrace the power of podcast guesting and unlock that potential to connect with your audience in a meaningful and cost-effective way. Start reaching out to podcast hosts right now in your industry. Share your expertise. Watch as your brand gains the recognition and trust it deserves. The microphone's waiting. All you got to do is step up and let your voice be heard. Now, I'm going to put a link down below for you, and you can check out the platform that we have to offer. The whole point of Faithcasters Academy is so I can put training inside the academy and don't have to charge for each individual package. My goal is to provide it to you with easy access at a reasonable price. It's just a monthly subscription. There's no long-term contract involved. You can cancel at any time. But as a matter of fact, let's go over here. Let me see if I can share this screen here. And we'll go over. And should do it here. Got that. Yep. Okay, this is the Faithcasters Academy right now. All right. And that's the landing page you see here. And we'll just do a couple of different pages here. You know, why join the Faithcasters Academy? And it goes on in here, gives you all this information here. And this is training for both podcasting and podcast guesting, okay, that we have included. And let's see this one here. Same thing. Here's the PDF resources that we have. This is one of the things that are on there. I add more training and more things to this all the time. And I'm looking here for, let me go over here and find it real quick. I just wanted to show you a page where we have the video training at, so you see what that's like. Right now, that's the podcast training and the interview training. For example, if you want to do the interview training, you come over to this, you click it, and there's a training right there. All the videos are right there. Takes you through the whole process of being trained on podcasts. But this is the things that I have for you in the Faithcasters Academy. All right. Like I said, it's one low fee to get started. And you can click down in the bottom, you know, if you click here, that takes you back over to why join the Academy. And then to get in, you click here and it takes you, there it is right there. So you can see what it is. You get 7 days free trial. So you get to test it out before your credit card's ever charged and all that. Okay. But the whole point and what we're talking about today is that I want to provide you the opportunity to have training like this without having to spend, you know, hundreds of dollars for it. Okay. You know, this is the same training I provided to others. And I charged several $100s for it in the past because when I conducted group training, it was 8 weeks for $697, for example. The one-on-one training was almost $2,000, like $1997 or something like. Those recordings are what's in there. And you're getting access for one low fee. Anyway, this is not a sales video, but an information video just to educate you on how being a podcast guest can help you to grow your business or whatever it is you're doing. I'm going to put a link, as I said, to the resource list that I have that'll give you a lot of the different places where you can go and put your name out there. Start looking for some interviews. Some are there's subscriptions, you got to pay for it. Some are free to sign up for, but the whole point is get your name out there. And we also have that faithcasters.org over my corner here. You see the little symbol, the logo. Faithcaster.org is for Christian podcast guests and Christian podcasters to find people to interview. Podcasters looking for guests, guests looking for podcasters. Again, I'm not charging you for this list. I just want to help you get the word out about what you do. With that, I hope to see you on the inside of the Faithcasters Academy. And if you hold on, I'll go ahead and we'll take questions here as soon as I stop the recording. Till next time, it's Pastor Bob reminding you to be blessed in all that you do.